Hello, it's Olivia from Johns Island, South Carolina. Thanks for joining me again tonight. I'm really excited about what we're doing tonight. A little bit different. I did a little step of this ahead of time, so I don't know if you guys had a chance to see, but I posted the crust recipe and a video of me making the crust for this tomato and fresh mozzarella tart that we're making. So there are a few steps, and we're going to take it step by step, but I wanted to show you the finished product. I just pulled this out of the oven. So this is made in a shallow tart pan, and this one is done. It's got the cheese melted, it's nice and brown, it can be warmed up. They're very good. It's very good to pull these out of the oven, let them sit for a while, and if you want to reheat them, go ahead. The sitting kind of helps all the flavors blend together and helps it firm up a little bit. It's really good. So anyway, what we're going to do first is roll out the dough. And I made it. It's just a simple dough with some herbs in it. And the video is there for you to see if you want to make this at home. So I already used half of the dough recipe for that tart that I just showed you. So this is the other half. Doesn't look like much, but it's plenty. And I have some flour, so that's going to be necessary. Let me move a couple things back. It's going to be necessary to have this flour so that we're not sticking too much onto the counter. I really made sure these counters are nice and clean. And guys, if you did see the video when I made the crust, I pulled it out of the Cuisinart when it was pretty moist. And in fact, what I didn't show you because I didn't have the flour with me was before I wrapped it up for the night, I actually sprinkled some flour on top and a little bit underneath inside the wrapper so that it wouldn't stick, and it absorbed some of that. So it's really perfect now. So as you probably know, to roll something out, you are going to start from the center and work out. Always from the center and work out. And this is going to be a nice, generous amount. And you want to keep flipping it as you're rolling. So you can bear with me for a minute. And also don't worry if it tears. Don't worry if it looks uneven or isn't a perfect circle. This dough is very forgiving and it can be patched, so don't fret. This is, to use one of Brian's favorite expressions, this is a fret-free zone, so we don't have to fret about our pie crust. It's very forgiving, and you know, you just don't want to panic if it sticks a little bit. That's why we have flour. So we're getting there. Not if I don't roll, though. We'll never get there if I don't keep rolling. But I think this is fun. So this tart, you guys, I've been making this for 30 years. I'm kind of embarrassed to say that, but I have. And it came, actually, I wouldn't have known about it if it weren't for my cousin Peter, who lives in New Mexico now. He found this recipe and kind of introduced it to the family. They made one, he and his wife, and they had, I think, bought a crust and they made it, and it was just so good. But okay, so check this out, you guys. This is how beautifully this dough handles. So I'm just going to drape it in there. Anyway, and you can just kind of watch what I'm doing. I'm just going to fold it in and kind of nestle it in there and trim it up a little bit. So my cousin Peter, anyway, made this stuff, and we all thought it was so good. And at that time, I worked at a restaurant, actually a very nice restaurant here in Charleston. And I'm going to interrupt myself. This is a deep pie pan. So I'm not going to drape the crust up over the top because that's going to be a really thick tart. I'm going to kind of let it lay over on itself without too much excess. But it's going to be kind of rustic looking. You see how the other one I pulled out is all fluted and it looks more formal, but I kind of like the rustic pie shape too. Anyway, so I was working in the restaurant, back to my story, and I thought the tart was so good that I took it to the chef there. I did desserts and salad. I wasn't on the hotline. Anyway, he really liked it, and so we started making it as a lunch special often, and I was the one who made it. We made a really thicker version in those days, so that a nice wedge was a really nice lunch for someone. But what I didn't know at that time, which I understand now, is in the restaurant business, the salad and dessert girl is not going to get credit for the tart. So we served it, people loved it, but my name never went on it. And that's fair. That's the way it goes in that business. So anyway, I've enjoyed this forever. and it's one of my son's favorite things. And when I used to make it for him, he'd always have a piece for breakfast the next morning on his way to school, you know, whatever. It worked. Okay, so that's good enough for me. That looks just fine. It's like I said, it's a little rustic, but it's going to be good. So the other thing that I really like to do that's super important is a little layer of Dijon in the bottom of the crust. And I have some. This is a little bit coarser grind of Dijon. It doesn't matter. I'm just brushing lightly. I don't want to really put a huge coating. I'm just kind of dabbing it and brushing it. And you know